Here's 8 basic marketing tips that I believe you should be thinking about when you are marketing in any capacity. Number 1 is if you try to speak to everyone, you will end up speaking to no one. What does that mean? Is that kind of powerful, by the way? If you try to speak to everyone, you will speak to no one. What does that mean? You have to find who you are speaking to. So the question is, who are you speaking to? Who do I speak to?
Insurance agents.
Insurance agents. Do I speak to realtors? No. You guys ever heard me talk about, I've invested in some real estate. I love to invest in more, but stop paying taxes as much. But that's another story. However, I have my niche. And have I thought about leaving insurance? A lot over the years, because our brand's growing and we have like over 400,000 insurance agents around the world watching our videos online every single week now. So I thought about it, going outside of it, and then I get arrogant. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're so big. We should talk to the world. No, we help insurance agents as well as anybody. Why would we leave that? Right? We'll evolve one day. I don't know. What I do know is we know who we are speaking to. And most people don't. Number 2, you get less than 3 seconds nowadays to get someone's attention. Less than 3, right? I'm going to look at the timer when it hits 40. So 1, 2, 3. Boom, they're gone. That's the world we live in. Would you agree? Some of you guys are quicker than that, right? Young lady that raised her hand earlier, you could probably sum up a TikTok in like less than a second. Fair? That's the world we live in, though. 3 seconds. So here's an example. If I said, who's okay to be a little brave and help me out and participate a little bit in my session over the next few minutes? If you, be careful raising your hand, but please raise it. Who's okay to participate a little bit? Okay, here we go. Okay, so if I put your camera in Harrison's face and I took my timer out and I said, get my attention, go.
Hey, you got to do this right now.
Okay? It's a start. It's a start, right? Yeah. It's better than nothing. Some of you guys would have been like, fair? Fair? Right? I respect his guts, right? Now, here's what he should replace it with, though. Hey, insurance agents, right? Then you're narrowing it in. Who saw an ad for this event? Who's here because you saw a Facebook ad or a Google ad or whatever, right? Ad roll, Stack Adapt, all the different places we use for ads, okay? Okay, good. What was the beginning of the video that you saw? Hey, insurance agents, if you live near Scottsdale, Arizona, we will be there very soon. You're like, well, what happens when you hear that, though? When I get your attention that way, what happens? You lean in a little. Would you agree? Your job with marketing is to get them to lean in, not to lean away. Is this good so far? Yep. Is this worth the price of admission so far? Yep. That's the goal. Anytime you do anything, your job is to people to leave saying, I got more value than I paid, right? That is our job too. Now that's not one of our marketing tips, but should be, okay? You get less than 3 seconds. So, Jasmine, what do you sell?
Life insurance.
Life insurance. Who else sells life insurance in the room? Okay, who sells Medicare? Health. Like ACA, maybe. Or I guess health is Medicare and ACA. PNC. Any like financial advisors, assets under management? Cool. Okay. If Jasmine sells life insurance, how does she get someone's attention in under 3 seconds? Do you want to know what most insurance agents would do? You know what's funny is that got your guys' attention, did it not? Is that on brand? I don't know. That's one of our power players, Jonathan. Give it up for Jonathan. I love it. That's hilarious. You've got to figure out how do you break through the mold of what is happening, right? So if it's life insurance, you sell more of what type of life insurance than anything else? IUL, final expense, term,
Term and whole life.
Whole life, term and whole life, okay. So in that example, how would she get someone's attention? Because again, it can't just be, hey, if you need life insurance. Do you think they're clicking on that? Probably not. Fair? So the type of clients you work with, what type of client do you work with the most? Elderly?
60 and up.
So more final expense or like investments or lower income? More final expense? Okay. So we're getting somewhere, right? You see what's happening. So if it's final expense, how do you get someone's attention under 3 seconds if you sell final expense?
Who's paying for your funeral?
Good. Who's paying for your funeral?
Is it an if or a when you're going to die?
Is it an if or when you're going to die?
Stop creating GoFundMes.
Stop creating GoFundMes. I love that. Who likes that one? That's good. Right? That's great. You broke my rule. All right. Number 3. Stories. This marker sucks. You guys can't read any of this, but that's okay. Stories still sell. Stories still sell. Stories are powerful. Have I told a few stories here and there today to get your attention? Yeah? What was one you remember that I shared? How I got in the business. Good. The recruiting meeting and all that? Yeah. Why do I share those along the way? Why do you think I share stories today? A little bit. They're relatable. Yep. What else? Emotional. Yes, there can be, for sure. Does it allow human beings to connect better with me? 1000%. So what are stories of origin in your past that you have had happen to you, good or bad, that you could go share? Here's one for me that really fuels me. It used to. It probably doesn't as much anymore. I think we've done okay. But like I had a basketball coach that like literally told me that he was playing some other kid over me because he had a rough life and I had a silver spoon in my mouth. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna show you a big silver spoon now, right? But guess what? You all have little moments along the way that trigger you. Now, did my family do well? Yeah, but not when I was born. We lived in like a 700 square foot home in Wynn, Arkansas, and it isn't my fault that my parents decided to create an amazing life for us and start from nothing and build something. Fair? I'm very blessed. Not everybody gets that experience. Some people become entitled little spoiled brat jerks that don't work if that's the case, right? But I saw what was possible and I wanted it too. Fair? Right? I could name a whole bunch of stories of origin related to what we're talking about. Okay? Stories still sell. Number 4, quality. That's actually a lot better. Quality beats quantity. Eventually. Initially, I do believe you should start with quantity because you're not doing anything. But quality is eventually better. It just is. Like there's other people in our space that are trying to keep up with us from a marketing standpoint. They're failing because they don't have a Dylan and a Keith and an Abby and a Lindsay and a Cheyenne. Like they're trying to do it all themselves. That's why my channel grew so slow and our brand and our reach grew so slow because I'm a control freak who thinks I know everything and I'm better than everybody else at everything, which is definitely not true. And I finally got that out of the way and added amazing, talented people to the organization. That's how you actually start to scale something, right? But quality has been good for us. Early on, it's quantity. Later, it's quality. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Number 5, you should always push someone to do something. What I mean by that is there should always be a call to action or a CTA. Most people, they do videos and there's no direction. Does that make sense? There has to be direction. So every time if I was to film a video about, I don't know, final expense, right, for Jasmine, and I were to jump on and just start recording, I would say something like, I like, is it Alyssa? No, Anissa. I like Anissa's idea, right? It was stop using GoFundMe. Yeah, stop using GoFundMe. Most people in the world do not stop and plan, and they leave this massive burden on their family's shoulders. And they beg people to help their family when really, if you just stopped and planned right now, you could help your family today versus your family having to beg because you didn't plan later. So what do you do to make sure that your family plans ahead? You don't have to use GoFundMe. you should click the button below and speak to your local agent today. Okay, now is that perfect? No, but like, does it show the progression of getting someone's attention, right? A hook, a story, and then you're pushing them with a call to action. Am I going too deep? Is this okay? Is it too much? Okay, good. Number 6. I said I had 7. I copied and put 6 in. I said I had 8. I have 7. So there you go. 6. Don't exaggerate. Be exact. How many people do you see in our industry that exaggerate everything? Does that ever happen? Do you guys ever see that? This guy laughed. Okay, what came to mind?
Well, I've run into clients who sold certain IULs, for example, and they're kind of hyped up, so that's what comes to my mind.
Yep.
Exaggerated to not be what.
Exaggerating. He said he's ran into clients with IULs that they were a little high. The people hyped them up. You know, do not exaggerate. Here's what I mean. Like if you're at, like I'm at 99,600 followers on Instagram. That's not 100,000. It's just not.
That's almost.
Yeah. Well, it's fun. Okay, so we did our main company, CA, did $638,000 in revenue last month. That's not $1 million. Right? But everybody else have been like, oh, dude, we're really close to $1 million. No, we're still far off. It's how math works, right? Also, when you're advertising and you're promoting and turning people's attention, it actually makes you look more credible and trustworthy to not exaggerate. Does that make sense? Who would agree with that? You're like, dude, I see it all the time. Thank you. So what are some examples of that, right? Like, again, I could have said, hey, this person's making a ton of money and, we're filling their events and stuff. We haven't filled it yet. We will. But we're at $1,600 and $1,700. They're not making a bunch of money yet. Now, ton of branding and opportunity in that, sure. But the more precise you can make it, the better. Like if you're ever trying, like if you're ever trying to build a team and recruit, if you made $188,000 or you made $64,000 or you made $13,000 your first year, just be honest, right? Just be honest. I think that's a big problem with our industry. Don't exaggerate, be exact, and it gets people's attention when you're exact. Last one, not 8, 7. I'm still working on the last one apparently. Provide social proof. That's an example of social proof. Provide social proof. When I used to run ads or train on YouTube, I would show my initial 1099 from when I was 20, 21 years old. The actual 1099. Because everybody is acting like they're a bajillionaire nowadays online, but there's never any proof. Would you agree? There's never any proof. And I'm like, are they really that big? That doesn't make any sense. Right? Like also too, our industry's got enough people that like don't make money and then think they're like a global expert. And they didn't do well, but now they're going to coach you on it. I'm like, John loves that. He's a big fan of that, man. Big fan of that. Dude, it's everywhere though. It's a plague in our industry. It is. Right? I kind of struck a nerve there for a second. You have passion and drive and everything went up a little bit. But at the end of the day, that's when we bring people who've actually done stuff to speak to you today and help you with these speakers and panelists that we have because they've actually accomplished something.